Hello and welcome back to Skypothesis. We are two brothers who believe Skyrim to be endlessly replayable, as wide as an ocean and as deep as your own imagination. It's our goal to create character builds to inspire you to jump back into this beautiful world. We take inspiration from all across the world of fantasy to create these characters, and for this month's build, we're excited to present a legendary sword and board warrior, the champion of Cyrodiil. Wielding a severed piece of a dragon's wing, he embodies everything the Dragonborn should be: an honorable warrior, a Dragonborn of legend, and a champion of the Empire he believes in. Though the Empire may be crumbling, he will use his Dragonborn gifts to ensure Skyrim is stable and completely loyal to the throne. So sit back, grab a mug of mead, and join us as we start with the backstory of the champion of Cyrodiil. The young champion's story begins with a tumultuous home life. In the height of the Great War, the Imperial City was successfully taken over by the Aldmeri Dominion. The city sustained significant damage and his parents' home was destroyed. They lived with other refugees in camps on meager rations, waiting for their delivery. His parents did not invest into raising their son. Strong drink and even skooma were plagues in these camps, and his childhood was spent evading dangers on the street. During their brief occupation of the city, the Dominion did nothing to ensure safety for its human citizens. One of his strongest memories was the day the Legion routed the Dominion and reclaimed the city. The Legion found their edge, and the tide was turned. He saw the red banners flying in the wind and proud soldiers marching through the gates as the Dominion withdrew, and felt a hope he didn't know was possible. A few years later, he enlisted. The Legion gave him everything he lacked in his home life: purpose, structure, and camaraderie. He believed in the Empire, but mostly wanted to make a positive difference in the world, to make sure nobody has to live the life that he had. But his career in the Legion was cut short when an arrow pierced his chest. It missed his heart, but tore through his lungs. He mostly recovered, but sustained a lingering cough and shortness of breath that prevented him from passing the Legion's physical requirements for re-enrollment. He was honorably discharged from service and given a soldier's stipend, but his heart was broken. He tried to settle down and start a family with his wife. They lived poorly as he struggled to find work. The economy of this war-torn Cyrodiil made daily life difficult. Their burdens mount when their first child doesn't make it. He enlists as an arena combatant to earn coins so they don't have to live in poverty, but deep inside he is really fighting as an outlet to deal with his grief. In spite of his lung trouble, he wins, beating the previous champion with an energy and zeal the arena had never seen before. To everyone's great surprise and his wife's great joy, he hangs up his sword and immediately retires from the arena after only one victory. Together, they leave the Imperial City behind them and settle down in Coral, where the pair find work for a local bookseller. They live a modest but happy life for almost 20 years before a sudden illness took his wife. He grieves for her loss, but thanks the Divines for the life they had together. Looking for an outlet, he decides to go on pilgrimages to important ancient battle sites in Cyrodiil. He spent so many years reading history, he now desires to see these sites in person. One of these destinations is the Pale Pass, where the Akaviri invaders bent the knee before Riemann Cyrodiil, but he takes a wrong turn on his hike and stumbles into the Imperial ambush. The Legion has no idea that he's a veteran, and for some reason he decides not to protest his capture. Perhaps it's his desire to leave this world behind and join his wife. But by divine fate, his story had just begun. Now in his middle ages, having not swung a sword in almost 20 years, he has to fight through Nord stormcloaks with a dragon toppling a fortress above his head. This marks the beginning of a great tale of heroism thrust upon him. He was ready to die, but the Divines clearly had other plans for him. He knew the Empire wasn't doing well, but laments the state of Skyrim and vows he will use his new life to be the hand of justice. This was a land with deep connection to the Empire. How could these reckless Nords abandon their true heritage and allies? He knew he had to fight, and spend his days with purpose. The Imperial garrison, led by General Tullius, does not have his old medical records, which means he can have a fresh start, but the Legion will have to wait. The dragons have returned, and they're a bigger threat to the Empire than the Stormcloaks. Also, he hasn't been a Legionnaire in many years, so the early game leveling up can be roleplayed as him shaking off the rust and getting back into shape. As a bookkeeper, he's had plenty of time to learn the history of the Empire and its connection to the Dragonblood, which makes his discovery as Dragonborn extraordinarily humbling. He knew the significance of dragon blood going back to Saint Alicia, who bore the gift in covenant with Akatosh and started the line of dragonborn emperors and empresses. As he develops his dragonborn gifts, he does so within the bounds of his morals. He is a lawful good character who fights with honor, worried that he would lose himself in the pursuit of power. His interest in history makes his journeys through Skyrim rewarding. He wishes the local Nords could keep a broader perspective and understands that a healthy empire is best for the land. The countryside is dotted with ancient fortresses going all the way back to the Riemann dynasty and beyond. The locals have forgotten their tales and what the presence of the empire has done for this country. Through his journey, he collects books that document the history of the empire and significant events in Skyrim, and takes pilgrimages to visit these ancient sites. Old Hroldan is mentioned in texts such as the Annals of the Dragon Guard. Though nothing is left of this ancient city, he ponders the battles that have taken place here. The Pale Pass, where Akaviri knelt before Riemann, can be accessed on a hike to the southeast of Falkreath. As you know, we like to take our time and roleplay our playthroughs, and this is a character who has a fascination with history, so it was fun to explore it with little side adventures. For his home base, we chose the Creation Clubhouse Tundra Homestead. He's new to Skyrim, and Whiterun was the first hold to welcome him as a foreigner, though Balgruuf is being stubborn about his allegiance to the Empire. He wants to keep a close eye on things here, as the fate of Skyrim seems to hinge on this central city. He completes side quests for its citizens during the early stages of the main quest to give more meaning to his title of Thane. The champion of Cyrodiil gains a respect of sorts for the dragons and their tongue. They speak and are intelligent and deserve to be defeated in an honorable battle. Fortunately, their size makes them predictable, and battles with a dragon are more about endurance. His dragon blood puts him on equal footing with these beasts, and they seek him out to challenge their Thu'um against his. The main quest is prioritized until the first battle with Alduin. Now, Jarl Balgruuf will not cede his castle to trap a dragon until the civil war is resolved. The champion is not about to broker peace with Ulfric, and knows it's now time to join the war. With the power of his Thu'um, he will lead the Legionnaires to a victory that will be sung in the annals of legend. To get the most out of the Civil War questline, we recommend breaking it up with other things in between, such as clearing out the other ancient fortresses, clearing bandit camps, and side-questing in the Legion-loyal cities to ensure whatever threats that are troubling its citizens are dealt with. Solitude, Morthal, Falkreath, and Markarth are all loyal to Elisif and the Empire. He will first spend time in each hold to get to know the needs of its citizens and ensure the city is in its strongest position possible to lend their efforts to the war. He is fighting for the allegiance of the whole country, and these towns won't be much use if vampires are threatening Morthal and Reachman are disrupting Markarth. Becoming the Thane of each of these locations is a good checkpoint before moving on. With the 4 Western Jarls in as secure of a position as possible, he can proceed with helping the Legion claim the other holds. Whiterun is the first to join, and Jarl Balgruuf finally comes to his senses with the help of his dragonborn Thane. After this battle, the tide turns in the favor of the Legion. He then proceeds with leading the Legionnaires and conquering the Pale, Winterhold, and the Rift. When he clears the Stormcloak presence of a hold, he oversees the transition of power to a new Jarl, and he helps them gain stability in the land by becoming their Thane. If the citizens are not safe, they will find it easy to blame the Empire. Become the Thane of the Pale and the Rift before pushing the offensive into Eastmarch. Winterhold is a unique case, as the true power here isn't held by the Jarl, despite his desperate flailing. It's held by the College, which has been politically neutral. He joins the College to ensure there is no Stormcloak sympathy here. He stays as a student under the premise of studying restoration and sharing his knowledge of the Thu'um, but he's wary of the Thalmor presence here. When he infiltrated the Thalmor embassy, he learned that they secretly consider Ulfric an asset, who helps them indirectly by destabilizing the Empire. The College questline is completed with the roleplay perspective of thwarting the Thalmor's nefarious plans. When completed, he has no intentions of sticking around as Archmage. Tolfdir, the Master Wizard, will be left in charge of managing the affairs of the College. He is now ready to mount the offensive into Eastmarch, and then into the ancient city of Windhelm itself. With Ulfric deposed and Jarl Brunwulf Freewinter placed in power, he gets to work helping the citizens of this ancient city rebuild. With the Civil War resolved, he can proceed with chasing Alduin into Sovngarde and the final threats of the land, Miraak and Harkon. Though his story ends whenever you are done with the playthrough, we imagine an epilogue of sorts when he returns to Cyrodiil and is honored by the Elder Council for his achievements. Because of his efforts, Skyrim is securely allied to Cyrodiil, and the Empire has gained leverage over the Thalmor. They grant him the title Champion of Cyrodiil, the highest honor possible in the Order of the Dragon. As far as gameplay goes, this guy is a classic sword and board dragonborn. No dishonorable stealth kills or thieving ever. He lives by a code of honor, and it's reflected in his gameplay. He will use his sword and dragon wing shield to defeat mortal combatants who challenge him in fair combat, and his Thuum against dragons, the undead, beasts, or mages who do not fight honorably. The only school of magic we're using for this build is Restoration. The healing arts are respected, and every warrior will sustain injuries. For shouts, he is a classic dragonborn and will learn all of them, with the exception of Disarm. One of the disarm words is locked behind the Thieves Guild questline, which he obviously wouldn't do, and he wouldn't want to use that shout anyway. He considers using the Thuum in combat against mortal challengers dishonorable, making what Ulfric did to the High King all the more reprehensible. We use the shout Battle Fury during each of the Civil War battles to roleplay his inspiring influence on the Legionnaires. With renewed vigor, they overwhelm the undisciplined Stormcloaks and show who the true warriors of the land are. Go to the Skal village and complete the 2 back-to-back quests, A New Source of Stalrim and Lost Legacy, to unlock this shout by defeating Valak the Jailer. We highly recommend doing this first before the Civil War, as those battlefields are significantly more fun when you can rally the Legion with Battle Fury. Now let's discuss creating the character. For the first leg of his journey, he will wield a standard Imperial sword, which looks like a gladius, paired with an Imperial shield. For his armor, he will wear a set of steel Imperial gauntlets and boots, fur armor, and a closed Imperial helmet. The helmet, shield, and sword can all be obtained at the hidden Shrine of Talos overlooking the rift, just southeast of Autumnwatch Tower. Eventually, he replaces his initial gladiator's apparel with the weapons and armor worthy of a champion. He will wield the unique Sword Torment, which includes a fire damage enchantment of 30 points, and is obtained during the Creation Club questline The Cause. We pair it with the wicked-looking Daedric Shield, which we chose because it looks like a torn-off chunk of a dragon's wing. If you time the crafting right, this shield can be a trophy he took from his first victory over Alduin on the Throat of the World. Cleaving off a chunk of his wing, he displays it proudly to challenge the loyalty of the other Dova. His helmet is the Grand Champion's Helm, a gladiatorial-styled helmet ornately adorned with 2 carved dragons. His chest piece is the legendary Lord's Mail, which features a passive Absorb Health enchantment from all enemies in a radius around him. He self-crafts Daedric gauntlets and boots to match the shield. For auxiliary gear, he wears an Amulet of Talos and a Ring of Fortify One-Handed. The helmet is obtained during the Creation Club quest Bitter Cup, which starts by reading the note Mysterious Altar in Dead Man's Drink, and the Lord's Mail is obtained at the end of the quest Gift of Kinnereth, which begins by reading the letter to General Tullius in Castle Dour. For stats, we leveled him with an even ratio of 1 in health to 1 in stamina. We want enough stamina to shield bash and shield charge, and don't need to put any levels into magicka at all. For the standing stone, we picked the Atronach stone. He is already tanky to physical hits with his smithed heavy armor and shield, and the 50% spell absorption will make him even harder to kill with magic. Finally, we picked Imperial for the race. They start with +5 to one-handed, block, and heavy armor, but this was mainly chosen for the roleplay, as he's from Cyrodiil with Colovian roots. By the time you reach level 40, you will want the following perks. In one-handed, take all 5 in Armsman, Fighting Stance, Critical Charge, Savage Strike, Paralyzing Strike, and all 3 in Bladesman. In block, take all perks in the entire tree. We want to utilize all of the defense and offense capabilities that come with using a shield. In smithing, take Steel Smithing, Arcane Blacksmith, and head up the right side of the tree to get the Daedric Smithing perk. In restoration, take Novice and Apprentice perks, Regeneration, and Respite. Finally, in heavy armor, take 1 perk in Juggernaut and head all the way up the left side of the tree to get the Conditioning perk, which removes armor weight. This is just the level 40 checkpoint. Since he's wearing all heavy armor, he would benefit from additional perks like Well Fitted and Tower of Strength. He could also advance his study in Restoration. Additional skills and perks to seek out are Seeker of Might for 10% boost to combat skills, Agent of Mara for 15% magic resistance, Sailor's Repose to make healing spells 10% more effective, the Fire Within for a 25% boost to the Fire Breath Shout, get this by meditating on Yol with Parthenax, and Bardic Knowledge to summon a spectral drum to increase stamina regeneration. Alright, moving on to our favorite part of every build, the special moves. These are combinations of gameplay elements that make up the fundamentals unique to each build. The champion of Cyrodiil's first special move is called Battering Ram, which is the combination of Shield Charge, Bardic Knowledge, and the Greater Power Bones of Earth. He is already a tanky character with his shield and smithed heavy armor, and when the spectral drums of war ring in his ears, he raises his Dragonwing shield and absolutely nothing can stand in his way. His next special move is called Hold the Line, which is the combination of Slow Time and Shield Bash. With the ability to move faster than his enemies, he fortifies his position by moving back and forth and shield bashing each enemy, preventing their advancement. He controls the battlefield this way, holding ground at strategic points. Up next we have Burning Leviathans, which is the combination of the two chromatic summons you can get from Dragon Aspect and Fire Breath. When you get the Black Book ability Dragonborn Flame, you summon fireworms when you kill an enemy with Fire Breath. Dragon Aspect will summon a spectral Dragonborn to fight alongside you when you reach half health. When you want to pull off this move, you can help it along by using Equilibrium to easily reach half health on command. During his service in the Legion, he fought alongside a proud Nord barbarian with an affinity for fire, who helped him unlock hidden abilities within the Thu'um. His final special move we call the Last Dragonborn. This is an endgame display of mastery over the Dova, which combines Bend Will and either summon Durnavir or call Dragon. Replicating the twin dragons carved on his helmet, this move is the ultimate display of the Dragonborn power fantasy. If you get the timing right, it's possible to have both Odahviing and Durnavir active at the same time, but it requires waiting an hour immediately after using Call Dragon to reset your shout cooldown and then summoning Durnavir. In practice, it's difficult to line these mechanics up, but we do this for the roleplay anyway. It's to showcase the pinnacle of Dragonborn achievement and his complete mastery of the Thu'um. And with those special moves completed, we are ready to wrap up the Champion of Cyrodiil. The simple and satisfying gameplay of a sword and board character is always a blast, and we hope you have as much fun with this Legionnaire veteran as we did. Thank you so much for supporting us by watching our videos. If you'd like to support the channel further, you can head to our merch shop to cop some antler helmet swag. But just being here and participating means the world to us. It's amazing how many like-minded roleplay fans there are. We love swapping ideas and hearing about your playthroughs, so stop by our Discord to join a community of like-minded Skyrim fans. As always, a huge shout out to Vincefet for his composition As We March, which we used in this video. His channel is linked in the description, so be sure to head his way and show some support if you haven't yet. Another month has come and gone, but we still have more plans for the channel, so be sure to like and subscribe to keep the magic of Skyrim alive. We'll see you next time, right here on Skypothesis.